pull on that jersey, you represent yourself and your teammates. And a name on the front is a hell of a lot more important than the one on the back. Get that through your head.
And here we go.
And it is no good. He missed it. Are you kidding me? The season can't end like that.
The playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Some goofball in a hat and a red shirt. Now he takes off the shirt. He's running down the middle by the 50. He's at the 30. He's bare-chested and banging his chest. Now he runs the opposite way. He runs to the 50. He runs to the 40. The guy is drunk, but there he goes. The 20. They're chasing him. They're not going to get him. Waving his arms, bare-chested. Somebody stop that man.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the program. I'm your host, Tyler FALK, and it's Wednesday, so that means we've got more top 10s we got to get through as we unveil another set of power rankings. So 10 teams, the first time we've done this in quite a while, actually, since, what was it, season 6? Or not season 6. Wow, if we didn't power rankings back then, I'm not going to actually be good at them. We'll find out. Since week 6, there we go. That's the week I'm trying to figure out. After a couple of weeks off due to the craziness that's going on in the world, but we're right back to do them. First one live. Let's get to it, shall we? First team makes an appearance since, well, I think one of the last times we were on here talking about the top 10. They're right back to where they were. That's Atlanta at number 10. A very nice win over Jacksonville. Actually, this is a late change into the power rankings in the top 10. I originally had Jacksonville over Atlanta, and then I just took a look at that game again, and Dunhill didn't look quite convincing to me over Atlanta's defense. It looks like the changes in the bye week really did help Atlanta out, and they rise 7 spots to take a spot in this top 10. So for Atlanta fans, it'll be good for them to get back to the top 10. And just to continue on with Atlanta, their season gets a little bit more rocky. It's a lot more. They have to prove now that they are indeed going to be a top 10 contender. They've been in my top 10 at least, here or there. Not really a staple when it comes to the top 10. A very weak start to their season, 2-2 in the first third of their season, and then just not really solidifying themselves. A win and a loss versus Sioux Falls and Las Vegas before they went their bye week. 6 games straight now for Atlanta. They start out with a good win versus Jacksonville. They play St. Louis. Crucial division matchup for Atlanta and for St. Louis in week 10. So do the Swarm stick around? Come back next week to find out. All right, on to 9. And this team is quite puzzling to me. They do jump up 9 spots to get into it, and that's Denver. I think they're an anomaly, Denver. They don't seem to really solidify things, but when they need to win games versus St. Louis, and of course last week versus DC, knocking off a very good Dragon team, people start to take notice of Denver's, maybe not necessarily methodical charge up the rankings or even into the playoff picture like Cameron Irvine posted yesterday in not just the SFL Discord server, but also on the simulationfl.net, the official website of the Simulation Football League, link to which is down below. But Denver right now are sitting in a very, very tight West Division. They're at 500. They're tied up at the division with Sioux Falls, who are, spoiler alert, outside the top 10 this week. So it's a very, very interesting division. Denver does have the tiebreaker over the Sparrows. That's why you see them in not just above them in the playoff picture, but above them here in my power rankings, is Denver has enough. They've proven that they can take down a very crucial opponent, that being their division rival Sioux Falls. Now it comes down to, can they finish off the season with a very convincing end? They play Baltimore this week. They play Baltimore, first game over on Next Level Sports this week. All the games on Next Level are must watch, but two of the last two champions collide. This one's going to tell us how far Denver has grown with their new players since winning the championship back in season 16. So Denver right now in this top 10, if they put up a good showing like Sioux Falls did versus Baltimore last week, they might as well stick around in this top 10 next week. So Denver at number 9 here. Moving on to number 8, that's going to be Tulsa. Tulsa making a meteoric rise up the table, not just in power rankings, but of course I'm going to keep referencing that playoff picture. Tulsa 5-3, if I remember correctly. 5-3 Tulsa. It's a pretty good start. Pretty solid season for the Desperados. If things were to end here, I think Tulsa would be extremely happy with how they played after that poor start they had. Everything's starting to come together. The defense is starting to make plays. The offense is starting to be a little bit more consistent. JQ looks more and more comfortable as the weeks go on in the pocket. He's finding Gabriel Manning. He's finding the rest of his receiving core. And Douglas Brown is having a solid day on the ground. Last couple weeks, he's put up some pretty impressive numbers. So Tulsa, a very, like Las Vegas were last season, Tulsa might be the thorn in a lot of teams' sides come playoff time. At this point, if we take a closer look at Tulsa, their remaining schedule here in the rest of the season, Tulsa's got Jacksonville here in week 10. They're going to play Jacksonville here week 10. Then they play Florida before going their bye week. If they can split the next two games, I think they're pretty much a shoo-in for the playoffs to play Louisiana, Atlanta, the final 2 weeks. It's a very tough end of the schedule. They need to split at least these next 2 games if they want a shot, because to split games in 13-14 versus division rivals, especially the way that Louisiana is playing on defense and the way that Atlanta might have turned a corner, Tulsa this is it for Tulsa. This is it to show everyone, why I'm so highly rated on Tulsa and why they deserve to be in the playoffs at this point. Tulsa have come out of nowhere in some regards. They were my winners of this past draft. Now can they win a couple more games and solidify themselves in a playoff spot? Number 7 is DC. This is the team that's dropping down the order from last week being a number 4 slot. They drop all the way down to 7, dropping 3 spots, of course. The Dragons are losing consistency. I talked about it yesterday on the show. I talked about how DC is here or there. A lot of teams are starting to figure them out. DC need to find something and change it up in a heartbeat if they really want to keep hold of their spot in the playoffs. They're falling down the pecking order as well in the playoff picture. Again, this is only the first one, but they stood a much better shot of making the playoffs 2 weeks ago before they lost to Tulsa and lost to Sioux Falls and Denver. So they play Arizona this week. If Eddie has changed up anything from the bye week in week 9 and DC lose again, DC might just fall tumbling out of the order. Final couple of games for the Dragons after their bye week in week 11 is Baltimore, Las Vegas, London. So if they lose to Arizona, more than likely they're looking at a 6-6 record, possibly best of 7-5. If they don't manage to turn things around here in week 10 versus Arizona. Okay, on to number 6. This is Lone Star. They're going to move up a couple spots after a couple teams move down. Charleston fall out of the way of the top 10. Sorry, Preds fans, but a shutout at home isn't ideal. Is probably the best way to put it. Uh, Again, a lot of change happened in the past season with you guys, and Kentis Johnson comes into place at TD Drew, and Kentis Johnson is still finding his footing. It now appears evident, uh, but still, uh, now we go back to Lone Star. The Glory survived Portland. That was a real nail biter. I was wondering whether or not to put DC above Lone Star in these power rankings because of how close Portland kept it. But then again, I picked Portland to keep it close and possibly even win that football game versus Lone Star. I called it a trap game. It indeed was a trap game. Lone Star did enough to kick their way to victory. Kind of like a certain team that we'll talk about here in a few minutes. But Lone Star aren't known for keeping these games close. The defense provides the spark. The offense can wheel and deal and run it away. We need to see more of that from Lone Star when they take on their next opponent here in Week 10 when they will play Vancouver. And Vancouver is going to keep things interesting. I think that game should be more of a shutout and more Lone Star speed. Okay, on to number 5. Florida move up a couple spots as well after taking down St. Louis in quite authoritative fashion in this regard. Really did not let Atlanta loose a whole lot. The first half was pretty close, and then we all know Florida ran away with that football game. So does Florida continue this upward trajectory again? 3-3 coming out of the bye week. They start off here in Week 9 with win number 1 of their first of 6 games to close out the regular season. Florida just need to keep piling on the yardage on the ground with Boletsky, and they need to get the offense more comfortable in that passing attack. And they're going to play Louisiana, who are not going to give them an easy day through the air. They're going to go up against the number 1 team in turnovers, especially interceptions. Can Ron Cochran keep the turnovers to a minimum, and are they able to find success on the ground? If you're not able to find a balanced attack versus Louisiana, it's trouble. And speaking of Louisiana, we find Louisiana right above them. And the problem is for Louisiana, if you can't find touchdowns against Florida, that's going to be the main issue. Because I don't expect Louisiana to shut out Florida. That's, in my opinion, impossible. Impossible to shut out Florida. You almost look just to contain this club. So it's going to come down to the arm of Tommy Utah. And if he can limit the turnovers, if he can find receivers like B. Robo and Adam Banks, new pickup, new to Week 9, new to the SFL, had a solid day. His first catch was a long 21-yard completion for a big first down conversion on third down on a 3rd and 19. So the rookie impressed in his opening debut, and Utah's going to have to be more comfortable. They're going to have to find the end zone at least once or twice, either on the ground or through the air against Florida if they want to keep pace in not just in a first-round bye slot, but even pace with Tulsa and Atlanta who are nipping at their heels. So Louisiana for now in spot number 4. We take a look at the top 3. Mexico City stay right where they are from a week ago after taking down their opponents last week in Vancouver. Excuse me, losing to Vancouver. They're not moving around. My apologies. The reason I didn't move Mexico City down anywhere is because I still think Ramos Lynn kept things tight as best as well as he could against Vancouver. And I still expect if Mexico City were to play Louisiana, I'd expect Mexico City to beat Louisiana. I expect them to beat any of the teams above them. And Mexico City played the number 2 team, Vancouver, in my power rankings. So 2 top teams going after it. No, not a whole lot of change in my opinion. So the Aztecs, they're gonna play San Diego, and if they can't beat San Diego, that's an issue. And for Vancouver, you're gonna play Lone Star at home. 2 powerhouse offenses going after it. For Mexico City against San Diego, can they keep pace ahead of San Diego, or are they gonna have to find a way back into it, kind of like how Fort Worth did? For Vancouver, can they maintain the lead over Lone Star, and can they be as explosive and dynamic on defense as we've seen them to be? Number one should be no surprise to anybody at this point. Baltimore, the defending champs, remain in the top spot. They have yet to move any further down. They're playing Denver this week, and Baltimore just they're coming off the bye week. They show no rust, no worse for the wear. It did take them all 4 quarters to push ahead for Sioux Falls, but Denver is going to be a test. It's every game's a test. Baltimore just need to be consistent, keep playing their game, and they should have no problem. So there's your top 10: Atlanta, Denver, Tulsa, DC, Lone Star, Florida, Louisiana, Mexico City, Vancouver, Baltimore. There's your top 10 here coming out of week 9. The full list is over there to my right, your left. All 24 teams in a line, a few teams moving up, a few teams moving down. Where's your team? Do you like it? Do you not? Let us know. A full picture, if you guys want to go share that amongst your friends or the rest of your fans, will be in the NETMA server Discord. Link to that is down below as well. Go ahead and check that out in the Power Rankings tab to be released after the show. All right, and that's going to do it for NETMA here on Wednesday. Tomorrow will be yet another episode of the program. Hope to see you there. Until then, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, ladies.